let us delve into the discussion on forest conservation and water towers protection in this country. So karibu sana Bwana Molo, you can introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your institution and the major achievements under the flagship project that you have witnessed.
My name is Molu Wato from the Kenya Water Towers Agency. I am the Acting Director for Ecosystem Protection, Rehabilitation and Conservation. The Kenya Water Towers Agency is a state corporation under the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, created through a legal notice in 2012, legal notice number 27 of April 2012, mandated to coordinate protection, conservation, and sustainable management of water towers. So we have several water towers in Kenya, 5 major that we know, and about 15 others that were gazetted when the agency was established. We are in the process of identifying so many others. We do contribute to the social pillar of Vision 2030 through forest protection and rehabilitation. Most water towers are natural forests, so we coordinate together with our sister agencies, Kenya Forest Service. Some of them are parks, so Kenya Wildlife Service, NEMA, because of the overarching mandate of conservation. So we have, through the Vision 2030, it has given us a vision to be able to focus on these natural watersheds, water towers. We have been able to rehabilitate about slightly above 500,000, 600,000 hectares of natural forest. We've been able to fence, we have fenced Mau, about 30 kilometers, electric fence. Aberdare has been fenced. Part of Mount Kenya has been fenced. Kakamega is also been fenced. 15 kilometers is already done. So this will help in natural regeneration because sometimes we've done through tree planting, but fencing is even more effective in terms of allowing natural regeneration. When you exclude or reduce the anthropogenic activities within this natural forest, then you allow it to recuperate, to regenerate, to be able to gain its characteristic of water catchment.
I want to ask Nema, Elmi, to introduce yourself and tell us what progress we have made.
My name is Isaac Elmi, Head of Department for Marine, Wetlands and Terrestrial Ecosystems with watersheds, also as part of it. And some of you may wonder why do we have similar title. As we are the overall multi-agency coordinator to bring ministries, departments, agencies, and county government with environment and natural resource protection conservation together. Where the need be, an intervention is required to save a natural resource in a particular environment, we have the powers even to invoke and bring on board even the KDF so that Kenyans' natural resource or green capital infrastructure is protected. The right to clean and healthy environment is Section 3 in EMCA, but it's in Article 42 of the Constitution of Kenya, as read with Article 69 of the Constitution of Kenya. So, as is to bring all government agencies, departments, and ministries together. So, for example, when we have a particular issue with the water pollution and riparian, we closely work together with our WRA, WARMA, formerly WARMA. When we find a particular issue in a forest, we bring on board Kenya Forest Service, KEFRI, and Kenya Water Towers. We work them together. Where protection of wetlands is required within a protected area, we directly go for and work together closely with KWS. So we are very specific. Apart from that, we also work with partners, civil society, the individual citizens that has got an interest. Of course, I know that Kenyans 100% have interest in environmental protection conservation. Necessity is the mother of invention. Why? Kenya is a scarce water nation. Less than 1,000 metric cube per person per year, per capita that is. Where is the problem coming from? Impact of climate change, prolonged droughts, ruthless water pollution into the little available water that's available. Then escalating actually increased population, demand for water. And that is why we have to wake up and work 24 hours around the clock. When we find 1 liter of water is polluted, actually we should be grieving because the water is not enough. And the little we have is under direct attack from pollution. The way forward, NEMA came up with a program or a strategy or a guideline that is zero tolerance for waste, whether it is ordinary garbage or plastics. Plastic was banned, and we have challenges from mogoka sellers and also what they call sugarcane, small sellers, because they peel, put in that package, then sell it to the people. Please don't buy a mogoka or maybe sugarcane cut into pieces containing polyethylene paper. The sources are from our neighboring countries, particularly Somalia. Somalia is a country that is recovering. Institutions, legal and policy framework are not intact. They are part of East African community. They need to be brought on board and assisted with capacity building so that enforcement on their side is up to standard. The boundary from Lamu up to Mandera must be secure, and this can be done through government-to-government collaboration.
Madam Sheila Koech, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us how are you intervening in this environment sector, and how prepared are we for the national celebrations?
Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you so much for having us today here. My name is Sheila Koech. I'm the founder of the Green Earth Organization. The Green Earth Organization is a community-based organization that was created in 2017. So we are roughly about 7 years old. And what we've been doing, our key mandate is actually on environmental education, ecosystem restoration, and community engagement. Yeah, so what we do, or what we've been doing since then, is that we've been engaging the community in all these initiatives that we want to restore the ecosystems. And one of our key ecosystems is the wetlands and forests. Those are what we've been focusing on mostly. I forgot to mention the Green Earth Organization is domiciled in Uasin Gishu County, but we are also very mobile. We also operate everywhere else in the country. Yeah, so what we've been doing is we've been working with communities, schools, and what I can say we've done mostly is that we've worked with close to 100 schools, roughly 80 to 100 schools right now since 2017. And we've been involving them in ecosystem restoration initiatives such as tree planting. And what we are aiming to do right now since last year is we've been planning to work with the Ministry of Education to see to it that we can introduce something called environmental clubs in schools so that we are able to move forward these initiatives of ecosystem restoration so that we can have schools having their own tree nurseries so that they can supply these seedlings to the communities. Then in terms of community engagement, we've been working with the communities as well in planting trees in open spaces, especially community spaces If, for example, a community hospital has space and they want to restore some bit of it, then we work with them. Yeah, so basically that is what we've been doing. And we've been able to also reach to a lot of people on the ground to change their perspectives on their use of ecosystems. Yeah, in a nutshell, that is who we are.
Thank you very much. And over to Mr. Mwangi from Kanko. Please tell us, what are the community initiatives you are having as we wrap up this catchment, and tell us whether what you have implemented has worked and whether it can work elsewhere.
Yeah, thank you so much for this particular discussion, and also an appreciation for all my colleagues and also everybody that we are participating with. And I want to acknowledge my colleague from Green Earth, because we are also co-hosting the World Wetland Day at Lake Norasha, actually. As Kanko, I want to speak about the Water and Wetlands Department, which is a partnership between three global organizations: International Crane Foundation, which looks at crane conservation around the world; Endangered Wildlife Trust, which looks at ecosystems that are endangered and species that are endangered; and Community Action for Nature Conservation, CANCO, which looks at community participation in ensuring that we have the right ecosystems, and we appreciate the contribution of the community. So, and I want to speak about the World Wetlands Day for this particular year. So why is it in Uasin Gishu? If you look at the key species that International Crane Foundation works on, which is the gray-crowned crane, Uasin Gishu has the highest population of cranes in Kenya. When we did the 2023 census, we had around 8,300 or about cranes in Kenya, of which around 2,300, or roughly around 23%, are in Uasin Gishu. So if you look at globally, Kenya being hosting almost a third of the population of cranes in Kenya, and Uasin Gishu hosting 25% of that, it's quite significant for that.
A third of the population of cranes in the world?
In Kenya.
In Kenya?
In Uasin Gishu.
All right.
Yes.
Cranes are birds?
Cranes are birds, and they are endangered. They are endangered, meaning in the last 40 years in Kenya, if I speak about it, there were 40,000 or about. Right now we have 8,000. So we have lost 80% of that population in a span of 4 decades. So if you look at the next two decades, if we don't reverse that, we will not have cranes in Kenya.
Very good.
So why wetlands? Why is it important? I was actually intrigued when people were talking about forests in looking at carbon sequestration. I want to tell everybody right now that wetlands actually have a significant carbon sequestration and carbon storage than forests. So if you look at wetlands, they store almost a third. They almost store 3 times carbon of what forests do. So if we had 30% of forest cover, that carbon sequestration only requires 10% of wetlands. So we really need to reverse that conversation. That it's not only forest, it's not only about trees. Let's look at forests. Let's look at wetlands. And the theme for the World Wetland Day is healthy wetlands, healthy people for this particular year. Because when there is wetland for the communities, they get water, they get access to water, they get flooding prevention, they get a lot of those effects. So I don't want to speak so broadly about it, but really I would encourage everybody to get into the nitty-gritties of what wetlands actually do. Thank you so much.